What is happening, guys, and welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we're going to be checking out the brand new Transformers Rise of the Beasts Deluxe Class Airazor. This is our first live-action movie Maximal figure. I'm so excited to see the Beast Wars characters actually make their big screen debut in June, and so pumped for Beast Wars. Now, as we jump into the details of this figure, a really nice redesign on that original 90s character. I love the way this one looks, although sadly, I believe this to be based on very early concept art. I'm willing to bet that this is not how she's going to appear in the movie. I know there is a Studio Series version floating around out there, which definitely does appear to be a lot more realistic, especially in the head department. Now, whilst this looks great, I mean, straight away it's easily recognizable as Airazor, it kind of throws me back to the original Dinobots that we saw in the 2014 toy line. They were very simplistic in terms of their design, had kind of very smooth panels, and then inevitably when we saw them in the movie, they were a lot more mechanized, and I think that is going to be the case here with this figure, but that's not to take anything away from it. It's a really nice redesign. I love the chest details, and we actually do get the live-action movie Maximal logo slap bang in center, which is just so sick to see. You can see various different mechanized feathered panels, which I think look great, especially here for the wings. Now, you can splay them outwards like this. Personally, I think it looks so much better to have them like this, but alternatively, you can just rotate them down. It's completely up to you guys. As we work our way down here to the arms, nice design, can't complain too much. We get some decent paintwork here, really sick mechanical details where the armpits would be, and overall, just a solid looking figure. The legs, as you guys can see, really cool. I like the feathers that we have sticking out the back, and the foot design's quite sleek and slender. Really sweet, and much like I mentioned in my Bumblebee review, these Rise of the Beast figures for the most part are pretty solid. I mean, there really aren't that many hollow spaces besides a few bits here in the back of the bird tail, but really nice design. Now, as we jump into articulation, sadly, I think this is where this figure falls slightly short. She is pretty limited, and it's quite basic to tell the truth. So for the head, we do get a ball joint. It can look up and down, as well as rotate left to right. And I mean, check out that side profile. Really nice head design. We do get some ball joints here at the shoulders, which can go forwards and backwards, as well as out to the sides. The shoulder pads are on their own separate hinge joint, much like the Kingdom version. We do get a full rotation out of the bicep, 90 there at the elbow. Sadly, nothing out of the wrists, the waist, and no ankle pivot. So very outdated when in comparison to the Studio Series and even some of the Legacy figures. A little unfortunate, but the hips can kick forwards that far, which is fantastic. They can kick back to that far before they are sadly compromised due to the tail. We do get a hinge joint out to the side, rotation at the thigh, 90-degree bend there at the knee, and despite her lacking ankle rocker, you can utilize the transformation joint to have the foot pivoting forwards and backwards. So whilst not the best, it's kind of akin to the mainline Earthspark Deluxes, which I believe this figure is supposed to kind of be replicating. Now, as far as accessories go, she doesn't include her traditional arm blasters. Instead, we get some handheld weapons, so some Cybertronian blades, and I really like the way these look. These are one piece of this character design that I'm so hoping we can see carried over into the movie. I mean, really nice metallic silver. Love the sculpt work on these. She does come with a pair of them, and they are pretty much identical. You can peg them into the hands to have her fighting against the Terracons, or alternatively, smack them into a few ports on the back of the wing. So there is our Rise of the Beast Deluxe Airazor in robot mode. Let's jump into a few comparisons. So first up, here we have her alongside the Kingdom Airazor, which was just such a fantastic figure, and in terms of design, I mean, when you look at both of them, you can easily tell that they're supposed to be the same character, so really good in that aspect. As we take a look at them here from a side perspective, pretty much exactly the same in terms of scale. And here they are from the back. Here she is alongside the Rise of the Beasts Deluxe Class Studio Series Bumblebee, which I believe is going to be a separate line. So you're going to have your mainline Rise of the Beast figures, and then you're going to have your Studio Series versions, which I believe are going to be slightly more movie accurate. But really like the way these two look next to each other. Here she is compared alongside the Studio Series Bumblebee movie RC, the Transformers Kingdom Voyager Class Optimus Primal, Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime, and then finally the evil Terracon Battle Trap. Now, getting stuck down into transformation, I actually wonder if these live-action movie Maximals are going to say maximize when they convert from Beast into Bot mode, but considering this is slightly more basic in terms of articulation, the transformation too is a little more simplistic, but there were a few neat tricks which definitely took me by surprise. So, starting off firstly, you're going to want to take the feet and just slide those upwards on both sides. We can then take these back pieces, and they'll just snap into place, come around to this side and rinse and repeat. We can then take the thigh, rotate it so that the front is now facing the back, and do the same here for this side. You'll then want to take the fist, and this will actually click in, and then we can take the bird foot and also hinge that down. Do the same here for this side. Take the shoulder pads, snap them there into place, straighten out the head, bring these wings down, and then basically take the tail of the bird detach it like that, and then hinge this section upwards. Once you've done that, to be honest, it will loosen up pretty much all of the internal joints, so we'll now be able to take this section here, bring it down, take the Falcon head, rotate it around, just like that. We can then take her robot mode head, bring this section inwards, and essentially flip her upwards just like this. Now what you want to do is rotate these sections here in, click those in like so, do the same here for this side, and then straighten these wings out as we're now going to bring this whole panel down. So just snap that there into place, rotate here at where originally was the bicep joint, and then we'll just straighten out these hip joints, bring this in, and snap it into place. Take these wings and peg them into what were originally her legs. So I loved how the transformation allowed the legs to actually become the wings. That is really neat. Definitely one of the geek out moments for the transformation for me. Snap them there into place and do the same here for this side. Take the Falcon head and officially snap it into place. And there we have Airazor transformed up into her beast mode and a really cool Falcon mode. Super mechanized as you would expect, and definitely an alt mode I can imagine appearing in a live action movie. I think as far as a redesign goes, this looks sick, and I think the bird mode is definitely better when in comparison to what is presumably the Studio Series version. So as we take a look at the details, an amazing looking head. I mean, that is just so cool, and I think this figure in particular shines here in her alt mode, at least to me. Really love the way this one looks. We get some very nice cybernetic detailing going on for the wings, very nice mechanical sculpt work here for the wings as well. You can see all of those feathers are actually mechanical components, which I thought were really cool. Like how they all overlap on one another, and despite these essentially being two separate pieces, really like the way these come together. And I mean, check out the fading we had there on the bird tail. That looks really cool. Definitely a very cool figure, simple transformation, but really effective. Some nice cybernetic detailing there along the side of the body. The head actually stows away pretty nicely. We get some decent detail for the feet, which I thought looked kind of cool. And in terms of weapon storage, you do have those same tabs that I showcased in the bot mode that we can take the blades to and just snap them there into place. And that is her weapon storage in beast mode. Now, as far as articulation goes, it is again slightly limited, although there are a few cheats. So if you disengage the head from the transformation lock, you can basically rotate this here left to right, which I personally think looks so cool. Really like the way that looks, and you can also hinge this here up and down, although from certain angles it kind of looks like she's been perhaps decapitated by Battletrap. We do get some nice hinge joints here out of the wings, so you can hinge those sections up and down. It's basically the hip joints that we saw from the bot mode, and the legs utilize the ball joints from the shoulders, so you can hinge these forwards and backwards, use those elbow joints, which now of course become the knee joints, and the toes too can pivot forwards and back, and so can the back of the tail. So pretty decently articulated. It would have been cool had the wings actually been able to rotate backwards or perhaps fold up and collapse like the Kingdom version, but for a basic mainline deluxe, overall, definitely not bad looking beast mode at all. Now here for a comparison in beast mode, we have Rise of the Beast Airazor compared alongside the Kingdom version. I'm actually really glad from a design perspective they went with a mechanized bird for the live action movies when in comparison to this realistic one, as I'm not too sure how they would have pulled that off, but really nice redesign. As we take a look at them here from kind of a back perspective, you guys may be able to tell that the Kingdom's wingspan is just a little bigger when in comparison to the Rise of the Beast version, but to be fair, there's actually not that much in it at all, and in terms of the base core body of both of them, I'd say they're pretty much identical. Here's the Kingdom Voyager class Optimus Primal, just so you guys can see how these two roughly pair next to each other. And finally, the Rise of the Beast Studio Series Deluxe Class Bumblebee. And in terms of the wingspan, she is actually a little bigger than Bumblebee when in vehicle mode. So again, still pretty decently sized. And wrapping up on this review for the Transformers Rise of the Beast Deluxe Class Airazor. For our first toy of a live action movie Maximal, I think for the most part this one's pretty nicely done. Now I am aware that this is more than likely based on very early concept art, so for those of you who perhaps are not too keen on owning two versions of the character, maybe hold out for the Studio Series version, as that will undoubtedly be more based on her finalized look. But in terms of just the sole base figure, this is really nicely done. I like the robot mode design. The articulation sadly is a little lacking. It is very basic in terms of its design, but, you know, you can still pull her off in some pretty cool poses. I like the paint, I like the detail, I like the accessories, and whilst the transformation too is a little more basic, I think there are still some pretty neat tricks, such as the actual legs transforming into the bird wings. That's really refreshing, especially when in comparison to the engineering of Kingdom Airazor, and at least for me, the Beast mode or the Falcon mode is definitely where this figure comes out to shine. I mean, it looks so sick to see a fully mechanized version of a Falcon. I just cannot wait to see these Beast Force characters in the movie, but yeah, I like it. It's definitely a decent figure. I'd love to get your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you guys think of this release? Is it one that you plan on picking up, or will you just wait for the inevitable Studio Series version? As always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.